video, we're gonna talk about my newest creation, I guess you'd call it. I'm going to mount these 6 classic Star Wars comics behind this foam core. I would have liked to have gone with just construction paper, but I wasn't able to find it right now since I'm having to have somebody go out and get it during the coronavirus bullshit. Anyway, last night I mapped out the dimensions where each comic will go. So that's all done. I got this tool from work. It's a blade, and it actually puts the blade at an angle. I got to figure out how it works. Pretty sure this straight edge, you put down a straight edge. And years ago, my buddy's mom had a frame company, or matting and frame company, and I was able to play around with that. He showed me that you cut from the back and you go in, and that way when you turn it over, the beveled cuts you don't have that overcut, or actually it's nice and clean. We'll see how it turns out. I'm gonna do I got some stuff down, some scrap. I'll do some samples and see how it works on the cutting board, and if it cuts well and I figure it out, I'll use it. Otherwise, I'll just do straight cuts. It's not the end of the world. I just want to have these comics behind here matted in one large frame, which I have over there. All right, after some experimentation with the cutting here, I think I'm going to go ahead and go with straight cuts. The foam, it snags, the blade ends up snagging, and then, like in this case, a nice pocket got torn out of the foam. Another one here. So this is what it would look like if I did it this way. Foam, there's a lot of foam because of the angle. I'm guessing that's about a 30 degree, maybe a 45 degree angle, which is the angle that the blade, basically the blade goes into the little piece of equipment, and for it to extend down deep enough to cut all the way out come out through the end, it has to stick out that far. And because of the way that the blade rests inside here, that angle is dictated by how far that blade goes from here to there. So I think I'm gonna just go ahead and do straight cuts. I went ahead and did straight cuts from the back. Cut from the back. One thing I'm noticing is that working with foam core, which I've never actually done for when I'm done framing, usually I just use matting, which is thicker, like construction paper. Obviously by the name, it's got foam within there. So that's making it tricky. Using a straight blade, I'm using a regular old straight razor blade, and I'm just doing several cuts slowly, and basically stopping short, a little bit short, so I don't have an overcut. And then picking it up and cutting again from behind and finishing it off. So it'll be a straight cut like that. And then I'm doing this with a pretty large camera, so this is tricky. Anyway, the comic book will go back behind here when it's all done. And I measured it to where it's there's a slight overlap, about a 1/16 of an inch on each side, roughly. So hopefully that'll be nice and uniform, and it's gonna look like that. I am now done cutting out. Just gonna do a little bit of fine tuning on some of these areas, get the little fuzzes off. But that's pretty much it as far as cutting the foam core. Next step, I'm gonna turn it over. I'm gonna mount my comics with some low-tack masking tape. I'm also gonna probably print up, when I can get some printer ink, I'm gonna print up the published dates on those magazines. I believe they're all 1977. This particular set is 6 issues depicting the complete first Star Wars movie. So I'll add that to the back. That way, if anybody wants to pull it off the wall and look at the back, they can see when it would actually publish. These are actual complete comics. They have the old ads in it, which I would love to scan. I should probably scan some of these before I mount these. Bodybuilder one. I mean, some of these are really funny, but they bring back memories. Another bodybuilder, that was a big thing, I guess, back in the 70s. Bunch of toys you could order. But this is all back from all those years back. So anyway, I'm gonna mount each magazine carefully to the back of this board I just did. Like I said, I'll use some low tack masking tape probably just to keep them from shifting. I did one a while back with 4 comic books that I didn't want to put tape on them, and one of them seemed to shift and I had to take it back apart. I kind of want to, once I get this done, I don't want to have to pull this apart. I want it to be a done deal. One thing I'm toying with is, and I haven't decided, is to add some detail like stars or something. Just for the heck of it, I did a little Death Star and a little planet, and I have gold, basically just Sharpies. I don't know, I'm deciding whether I should just keep it clean and black. Probably that's what I'll probably end up doing, is just go black with no stars, and then maybe someday I'll get a wild hair and decide I want to add some detail, but as of now, I don't know. We'll see. All right, the magazines are in the foam core. I have to say, I cut these so close to the exact size of the comic, it made it really tricky to mount these, because they still want to kind of slip out. I know that once I get it mounted into the frame and it's hanging on the wall, hopefully I won't have any issues. I did use low tack, the blue masking tape. I'm not really worried about the damaging the comics. They were given to me a lot of years ago. They're not in perfect condition. It wasn't like they were put into sleeves as soon as they were bought. There's a couple where the staples and stuff are kind of worn. I mean, I bet you some collector would look at these and say, oh yeah, there's some damage. I don't care. I didn't do it for collectability. I did it so I could mount them and get them out of a bookcase that I found them in. I had put them in years ago. On a side note, I did read each one of these, the publishing date, starting with episode or comic 1. That came out in July of 77. The movie came out in May of 77. So just a couple months after the movie was released, these comics came out, which I thought was kind of interesting. And then they're in sequence, July through December. Anyway, just a quick, that's the first one. Luke's on the cover with Leia and the green. I always thought that was funny, the green Darth Vader in the X-Wing. The second one, which would be the fight in the cantina sequence, Obi-Wan, Luke, some of the monsters that never actually attacked him. Looks like the whole cantina went off on him. If you were to read, go by just the cover. The third issue has got Chewbacca beating the shit out of a stormtrooper with Han Solo, and this is them fighting off the Death Star after looks like they've already rescued Leia. I just think it's kind of funny, some of this stuff. Number 4, real quickly, Darth Vader, the giant menace in the back there. It looks like Obi-Wan's gonna kill Luke and Leia. It's kind of funny. And then issue 5 is more of the Death Star stuff that looks like they're running, trying to get to the Millennium Falcon so they can escape from the Death Star. And then the last one, which makes absolutely no sense because it is the last one in the episode for Star Wars A New Hope, Darth Vader and Luke meeting up, which never actually happened. I'm trying to get this glare off. I got an overhead glare. So we got Darth Vader. Looks like he's going after Luke with some TIE fighter action and Y-Wing, which never happened in A New Hope, which I don't know why they put that in there. Anyway, another side note is, I'm gonna turn off the overhead light. Maybe that'll help a little bit. Is it looks like Star Wars, or the first one is white letters, second one's orange or red, white, orange, white, and then what kind of looks like pink. So I don't know what that's all about. That's issue 6. And these are in sequence. I double checked them. So anyway, I'm about to put this in the frame and I'll make a video of that. And that'll probably be wrapping it up. I'm not going to actually show a video of myself hanging it. Maybe I'll add to where it's actually hung on the wall, but I don't know if I'm going to hang it today. All right, this is it. It is framed in all its glory. You can probably see my reflection in there. I don't know where I'm going to put it. Probably in my office with my other Star Wars stuff. This ended up taking me about 4 hours total. I did take breaks. I had other stuff I was doing. But this is it. 1977 comic version of A New Hope.